The original compound of aspirin reacts with sodium hydroxide to form the acetate ion, solicitate ion, and water. At this point, there is excess sodium hydroxide in solution. Now we must take the reaction back to the true endpoint by performing a back titration. Therefore, we add hydrochloric acid to react with the sodium hydroxide. First, we need to determine the moles of hydrochloric acid needed to equal the moles of sodium hydroxide used. To calculate this, we take the molarity of hydrochloric acid given and the volume of hydrochloric acid that was used, convert it to liters, and multiply them together to get the number of moles of hydrochloric acid, which is equal to the moles of sodium hydroxide since it is a 1-to-1 mole ratio. So 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid times 0.01306 liters of hydrochloric acid, which equals 0.001306 moles of hydrochloric acid, or 0.001306 moles of sodium hydroxide. Then we have to determine how many moles of sodium hydroxide we started with. We are given the molarity of sodium hydroxide to be 0.1 molar, and we determined it took 0.02126 liters of sodium hydroxide to titrate the sample. So 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide times 0.02126 liters equals 0.002126 moles of sodium hydroxide. Next, we need to determine the number of moles of sodium hydroxide that were reacted. We take the moles of sodium hydroxide in excess, 0.001306 moles, and subtract it from the total moles of sodium hydroxide found in the last step, 0.002126 moles. This gives us the total number of moles of sodium hydroxide that actually reacted. In the equation, we saw that for every 1 mole of aspirin, there are 2 moles of sodium hydroxide. Using this mole ratio and multiplying by the number of moles of sodium hydroxide reacted, we determine the moles of aspirin reacted. Now we need to determine the grams of aspirin by doing a mole conversion. Simply take the moles of aspirin reacted determined in the last step and multiply by the molar mass of aspirin. Finally, to determine the percent of aspirin in a sample, take the grams of aspirin calculated in the last step and divide by the total grams of tablet weighed out in the lab. Multiply by 100 and we get the weight percent. So in each tablet there is 21.69% aspirin.
Created using Powtoon.